So Isaac entered into that agreement. They had a feast and celebrated and worshiped God. During these negotiations, here comes the men. They made a feast. They ate and drank. They arose early in the morning, swore an oath with one another, and Isaac sent them away. They departed from him in peace, and it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him about the well which they had dug, and said to him, "We have found water." I want somebody to be able to go out of this church and tell a loved one who's in a bad situation, "I know a place you can find some help." I want you to be able to tell somebody that you know a place that they can turn to, where they can be comforted. You know a place where they can find instruction. If you want comfort, you can go to the Psalms and be comforted with the words of the Bible. If you want instruction, you can go to Proverbs and you can find how we ought to live as children, how we ought to live as adults, how we ought to live as a nation and a people. It's right there in the book. You just have to read it. If you want to hear about the salvation of the Lord, you can go to the 4 Gospels in the New Testament, and every one of them tell us about a Savior who was put up on a tree, who was placed in the grave, and who God brought forth victorious over death, hell, and the grave, and He's ruling and reigning right now if we'll just trust Him. We've got water for thirsty mouths, for hearts that are blistered from the heat of this immense difficulty this nation's going through. There is satisfaction. It's called the well of Beersheba. You know what that word Sheba means? 7. And God has promised us in the book of Revelation the 7 blessings of those who overcome. To him that overcometh, he shall receive. I don't have the time this morning to go over all of them, but I just want to tell you, you want to know what God will give you if you trust Him and overcome and live for Him, just read those chapters, the first 4 in that book, and it will tell you all the blessings, the 7 blessings God has for those who overcome. And it culminates in chapter 4. When we find ourselves around the throne of God after the rapture of the church. That's the power of the water that God's offering us. The well that completely fulfills. That number 7 in the Bible is the word for God's completeness. The 7 spirits of God. The 7 golden candlesticks, the 7 vials, all of the things that we talk about, they're complete in that well. When you drink of the well of living water, the young lady at the well came. Jesus asked her for a drink. And she said to him, "Why do you, a Jew, ask me, a Samaritan, that you hate for a drink of water?" And Jesus said to her, "If you knew the water I could give you, you would ask of me to drink, and you would never thirst again." That's the water of the completeness of God. Father, this message that we have heard and said today is to show that we can be complete in Jesus Christ. Not ourselves, not the government, not anything, not institution, not hospital, not church, not facility. There's no place that there's a completeness except in Jesus. And in Him we can live and move and have our very being. Let it be uplifting word to those who will hear it, and encouragement to those who will hear it, and a strength to those who are living for you in this hour. And everybody said, Amen. Amen. 2 weeks from tonight, 6 o'clock, His voice will be in concert here.